predicting the playoff picture for this season now that we are at the All-Star break. So yeah, let's get started here. So starting off, we're going to do the Eastern Conference. For the one seed, I'm going to keep the Celtics there. They've been the one seed basically all season long. Don't see any reason they wouldn't still be. I do got them getting up to 63 wins, which is kind of a lot, but they've been playing really good basketball, and that's actually about right on pace to where they are at right now. Number two seed, I'm going to keep it as the Cavs are currently two seed right now. I'm going to give them up to 55 wins there, so still a long ways off of the Boston Celtics. Three seed is the Bucks. I'm going to keep the Bucks here. They're only like a couple games behind the Cavs right now. I have them ending around 51 wins and being about 4 wins away from the Cavs. Mostly because Cavs have been hot lately and the Bucks have not been very good lately. So I feel like the Cavs will get a more comfortable lead on them towards the end of the season. Number four, I'm going to have the Knicks right now at 32 or 33 and 22, but I'm going to actually think the Sixers are going to get up there at 49 and 33. Next up. The Sixers are currently the 5 at 33 and 32. I've got to have the Knicks with the 5 at 48 and 34. Those guys have the same record right now, and I think they're going to stay there only about one game apart, with the Knicks being, one game behind them, which isn't, obviously it's not too far off. And I've actually looked at these guys' records. They do play each other 2 games in a row within their last 20 games. So looking at their schedule there, those 2 games are going to be very, very important to decide who's going to be the 4 versus the 5 seed. 6 seed is the Pacers currently. I'm going to keep the Pacers here at the 6 seed, staying right there above the play-in seed. And, the Knicks have a comfortable lead over the Pacers for that 5 seed. 7 seed currently is the Heat at 30 and 25. I'm going to give it to the Magic at 44 and 38. The 8 seed is also the Magic right now. Same record as the Heat right now. Have the Magic finishing like 2 spots ahead of the Heat, or 2 games ahead of the Heat. So the Heat finish here at the 8 seed at 42 and should be 42 and 40, not 42 and 38. Sorry. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. All right, yeah, so the 42 and 40. Just a couple games below the Magic there, so not too far off. Next up is going to be the I think the Hawks would be the 9 seed. Currently, the Bulls are right there, but I think the Hawks will get up there, and then the Hawks are currently the 10 seed. Only 2 games ahead of behind the Bulls. I think they'll finish 1 game ahead of the Bulls, and the Bulls stay here at the 10 spot. And then the 11 seed here, the Nets are currently 21 and 33, just 2 games or so ahead or behind the Hawks. I think they finish 1 game behind the Bulls, so the Nets definitely got a tough look there. Very much fighting for that 10 seed. I got the Hawks, Bulls, and Nets here for the 9, 10, 11. Should be like a really good battle for the last couple of weeks of the season. To see who's going to be standing where on that. So definitely going to be a tough situation here for those games. And the Bulls do play the Nets in one of their last 10 games. They also play the Hawks in their last 10 games. So those games are going to be very, very important for these teams. And yeah, with the other matchups we got going on, I think the Celtics should be able to beat whoever they play in the play-in round. You got the Magic and Heat for the first play-in game. I'd probably take the Heat in that game. And then they'd be the 7 seed. And I got the Hawks and the Bulls for the last play-in game. Whoever wins that game, I don't really know who it's going to be. I would probably say the Hawks. That would give the Hawks a game against the Magic to see who's going to be the 8 seed. I might honestly give that game to the Hawks there, which means the Magic would be here, at the 7 seed, only 1 game away from being the 6th seed, but then probably, in my opinion, would actually end up missing the actual playoffs. Not that it matters too much, because whoever ends up being the 8th seed, as long as it is not Miami, probably ends up getting swept by Boston anyways. But if Miami finishes as the 8th seed, they lose to Orlando and then beat Atlanta or Chicago, Miami and Boston around 1 would be a very, very good matchup, I feel like. Oh yeah, let's go to the Western Conference though. For the 1 seed is currently the Minnesota Timberwolves at 39 and 16. I'm going to give it to the Thunder here at 48 and 24, but these top 3 teams are going to be very, very close like they are right now. See, the Thunder are only like 1 game behind Minnesota right now, so I'm going to give Minnesota actually being 1 spot behind Oklahoma City, but definitely, still very, very close. I got the Clippers are currently the 3 seed at 36 and 17, so right there with the Thunder. I'm going to give the Nuggets the 3 seed actually here at 56 and 26, only 1 game behind the 2 seed and only 2 games behind the 1 seed. And then the Nuggets are currently the 4 seed, and I'm going to give the Clippers the 4 seed at 53 and 29. So the Clippers are I'm going to drop a couple spots here to give the top three a pretty comfortable lead over the Clippers, I guess. About a 3-game lead in there. Um, these got some very, very interesting games for these guys coming up. Oklahoma City has some tough games in their last like 10 games. They got to play Boston, Phoenix, Sacramento, Milwaukee, Dallas, all in their last 10 games. So definitely not an easiest schedule. When you compare that to a guy like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who gets a couple easy wins in their last couple of games, playing Chicago, Washington, and Toronto. But Minnesota also plays Denver in 2 out of their last 10 games, which those are going to be very, very important, deciding the spots here between the 2 and the 3 seeds. Next up is going to be let's see, the Suns are currently the 5 seed. I'm going to give it the Mavs at the 5 seed at 49 and 33, so pretty significantly below the Clippers there. And then currently, Pelicans are the 6 seed at 33 and 22, but I'm going to give it to the Suns here at 48 and 34. And then the Mavs are currently the 7 seed at 32 and 23. And I'm going to give that to the Pelicans at 46 and 36. So these 3 teams are only like 1 game apart right now. So I'm going to have the Mavs end up overtaking both of them, but only by 1 game versus the Suns. So very, very close for all of them as well. Suns got a very interesting schedule in their last 10 games as well. They got to play Denver, OKC, Pelicans twice. So the Suns and Pelicans play twice in the last 10 games, which obviously will make a very, very big difference for their playoff seedings there. Number 8 is the Kings. Currently, I'm going to keep the Kings there at number 8. I do think they'll fall off a little bit. They're currently 31 and 23, so only like 2 games back from the Suns at the 5 seed. But I'm gonna, make them be like 5 spots below the Mavs for the 5 seed at the end of the season. I don't really have too much of a thought process going into that. That's just a gut feeling. They'll probably take a little bit of a backseat towards the last half of the season, but still definitely really, really good team. On the 9 seed, never mind. Hold up. Okay, sorry. So the 9 seed is currently the Lakers. I've got them staying here at the 9 seed. They're only like 1 or 2 games back from the Kings right now. So I've got them finishing only 1 game back from the Kings at the end of the season. They've got a very tough schedule for them in their last few games. They got to play Golden State, like 2 more times this season. They play Golden State in game 80 for the Lakers. So one of their last 3 games is against the Warriors, which is, if you go to my next team here, you're going to see that the Warriors are going to end up the 10 seed here, only 1 game behind the Lakers. So that game there, game 80, is probably going to be the deciding factor between who gets the home court advantage for this 9-10 playoff matchup, which is going to be a very, very good play-in matchup between the Lakers and the Warriors. And then we don't really have any other team here below the Warriors that are fighting for this 10 seed. I got the Jazz at the 11 seed at only 35 wins, so Warriors got a very comfortable lead over them, but it should be a very, very interesting play-in race for the West. Obviously, the Lakers-Warriors game is going to be very, very entertaining, like we saw in the very first playing game. Not the Kings and Pelicans in that matchup. I think the Kings will probably end up beating the Pelicans and end up making them the 7 seed playing Minnesota, which would be a very good round 1 matchup. And then the Lakers-Warriors, I feel like whoever wins that game probably will end up beating the Pelicans, honestly. So the Pelicans, I think, will probably end up getting knocked out of the playoffs as it stands right now, which if you remember what I said about the Eastern Conference, the Orlando Magic were the 7 seed there, and I thought they would probably get knocked out too. So I do think that both 7 seeds could very easily be knocked out of the playoffs, mostly because, these other teams below them just got so much more experience, like the Lakers and Warriors. So, I think those teams definitely have a chance to be up here at the 8 seed playing Oklahoma City in round 1. And I feel like the Lakers play Oklahoma City in round 1. Lakers obviously have a lot more experience than OKC. So, I'm not saying they're going to win that round, but it's very, very possible. I don't think there's going to be a single bad playoff matchup for the Western Conference as opposed to the Eastern Conference. The 1-8 seed matchup is probably not going to be very entertaining unless Miami ends up the 8 seed in there. So the NBA playoffs should be a very, very fun race. Should have some fun seeding races here towards the end of the season as well. But there's probably not going to be a whole lot of teams that are not currently in the top 10 playoff picture that are going to be able to fight their way up there. The only team is going to be probably the Brooklyn Nets in the Eastern Conference, and there's probably not much of a Western Conference team that's going to fight too much. I don't think the Jazz are really going to fight the Warriors too much for this 10 seed. So yeah, that is going to be the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to come back next week for an updated power rankings video. Did not put one out this week because there's only like 3 games last week, like 3 days of games. So yeah, make sure to be looking out for that next week. And goodbye.